Hello, everybody. It's Adam with the Pattaya News here and what's popping in Pattaya. I know you missed me last week. Our video team had taken a short vacation, although, of course, I was still around, so we did not put out our regular weekly video. But this week, we're back. I knew you couldn't wait. And this week, we've got some interesting topics for you. We're going to talk about the fact that Russians have been granted a 90-day visa waiver, essentially, and only Russians, and that was a big controversy overall. We're also going to talk about the controversial crackdowns on transgender individuals on Pattaya Beach, as well as some misinformation that came out with that as well. Finally, we're going to touch base on a topic that I know is near and dear to many people who come to Pattaya's hearts, and that's whether or not they will allow later legal closing. Keep in mind the word here, legal. We're not talking about places that might unofficially be open late till at least 4 a.m. Thank you for joining in. And as always, we appreciate your support. Now, as terms of our first topic, the 90-day visa on arrival for Russian tourists, which will allow them to stay 3 months, will take effect from November 1st until roughly about, April or so of next year. Now, the official reason for this, according to the Thai Prime Minister, who approved this at the Thai cabinet meeting this week, was because that they believe that it's very cold. Again, this is their official reason, not what we believe. It's very cold in Russia in winter, and many people want to stay longer to evade the winter. So as a result, they've decided to give Russians 90 days to stay. Now, of course, the comments rolled in on social media on that, with many people saying that they live in, the UK or Norway, et cetera, that have the exact same Northern Hemisphere weather, and why were they not also given 90 days on arrival? It led to a lot of controversy online. And also this week, we'll put up some pictures of them meeting. Of course, the Prime Minister, Senator Wiesen, met the Russian President, Vladimir Putin, at the Belt and Road Initiative Conference in Beijing, China, which, if you're not familiar with this conference, it's a major conference, the third of its kind, about obviously building more belts, railways, and roads to connect all of this part of the world together. Now, this was the first meeting between Mr. Wiesen and the Russian president, and they seemed to get along really well. In fact, something that many of you may not know, the Russian president even used some Thai when he spoke to the Thai prime minister, and also said that he's been to Phuket, quote, many times, and had a great time and was looking forward to visit Thailand again. That led to Mr. Wiesen inviting officially the Russian president to come and visit Thailand. And the Russian president said he will accept that invitation, but likely not until sometime without a set date next year. This also came just a few days after, as stated, the announcement of a 90-day visa on arrival for Russian tourists from November 1st. Now, Russians had already had a 30-day waiver. Just recently, they gave a similar waiver to Chinese tourists and Kazakhstan tourists. It's important for me to explain for a minute what this verbology means. For many of our readers who come from Western countries like the UK or the US or Australia, you already pretty much can just walk in, wave your passport without having to go to a consulate or embassy or pay fees or fill out paperwork in advance and be accepted to enter the country. China didn't have that prior to this recent exception. Russia did, but only for a short period of time. India still doesn't. A lot of tourism officials are pushing for India to also get the same exception. So far, no luck on that. And so basically, Russia had this for 30 days, but now they've been given 90. And of course, many people online are saying, why not give everybody 90? Let everyone have it. Well, here's one of the big reasons why. Russia recently, or somewhat recently, allowed Thai tourists, international Thai tourists, permission to go to Russia visa-free for 90 days. Now, some of our readers probably have Thai wives or have had Thai girlfriends, et cetera, before, and may have tried to get them into countries like the UK and the US. And as many of you know, that can be a very difficult process. In fact, travel to many Western countries is not very easy for Thais, and many Eastern countries, for that matter, such as Korea. Now, Russia is now one of the easier places for Thai tourists to visit. So basically, this entire thing was just reciprocal. It was essentially Thailand saying that we're also going to allow in Russian tourists for 90 days because you allow Thai tourists. Of course, that brought many people online to question who the heck would want to go to Russia. Maybe many people do. Maybe some people want to see the snow, want to experience a Russian winter, each to their own. Anyways, hopefully that explains it a bit. It has nothing to do with any standpoint on the Ukraine-Russia war. Officially, Thailand states that they are still neutral in that situation and are not taking any side. They've also stated that they're staying neutral in the ongoing Israel-Hamas war. That's been a big news story here in Thailand because Thai nationals after U.S. nationals has been, unfortunately, the second biggest group of casualties, mainly from Thai farm workers that were killed when Hamas attacked the southern parts of Israel. And also many Thais are still being held hostage. As a result, the Thai government is pushing to evacuate as many Thais as possible and is urging more Thais to come back home. It's a difficult situation, though, because a lot of them made good money there. A lot of them are still paying off debts related to being able to work in foreign countries. And it's brought a lot of press to the fact of why so many Thais go overseas to work rather than find work here in Thailand. Of course, the answer is money. We're not going to cover that too much in this video today, but we did want to briefly mention that that's been a big ongoing story recently. Now, for our next topic, we're going to talk about 4 a.m. at nightclubs and bars and entertainment venues. This has been going on for like years now, as anybody who has followed this topic knows. And the basic thing is the Thai government, since it's a centralized government, mainly has the final say in what the closing times are. For many years, it's been midnight to 2 a.m. or so, depending on the zone that the particular area is in, the entertainment zone. And tourism areas like Pattaya and Phuket have argued many times that because of tourists, because it's a different area, they should not have to be on the same sort of closing times as rural Isan, which is probably a pretty good argument. The current Thai government agrees with them. The former one didn't. This went back and forth for years and it didn't happen. Now, not only does the Thai government agree, including the prime minister, but so does Phuket, Pattaya, and Bangkok business owners. Now, there have been some objections, mainly anti-alcohol groups and anti-drink driving groups that claim that by increasing the times legally to 4 a.m., it will result in more accidents and crime. Meanwhile, supporters say that basically places are open already unofficially. It will help end corruption in areas, basically people paying certain officials or police, supposedly, to stay open later if they allow this. Now, all these questions aside, when will it happen? That's a big question. They're still debating back and forth, and they're also researching specific zones because one of the biggest concerns is they don't want to just say it's 4 a.m. for everywhere in Pattaya and Phuket now, because that would piss off people in residential zones, and you'd likely see new nightclubs, etc., built. So they're really looking at zoning. The zones here in Pattaya have not changed since 2002, and that's something to keep in mind because since 2002, obviously there's been an explosion of bars in eastern Pattaya, in Jomtien, and Nakua, but technically, there's supposed to be restaurants. Technically, there's not supposed to be just bars with entertainment outside of the entertainment zones in central Pattaya. Our last topic for the day is earlier this week, actually over the past weekend, a viral video went out in which a unidentified tourist was attacked by a transgender individual on Pattaya Beach. Now, the full story came out, and it turned out that the transgender individual had offered companionship services to the Russian tourist. Well, some people said Russian. Again, it wasn't 100% identified. And the tourist got offended and splashed water and cursed out the transgender person, who then proceeded to brutally beat down the tourist. This led to a major crackdown up and down beaches a couple days later, in which they rounded up transgender individuals, took them to the police station, and kept copies of their passport or their documentation ID cards, as well as gave them drug tests. Nobody tested positive. Now, this led to some controversy online with many activist groups saying that they should not target only transgender individuals and many people getting offended by it. Before COVID-19, some of you may remember, they actually banned transgender people from being on Pattaya Beach. But obviously, in this day and age, that is seen as discrimination and is likely no longer a solution to people claiming that there's a problem with violence or theft. Meanwhile, Pattaya Police stated that they would continue patrols on Pattaya Beach, but that they would make sure that they focus on the safety of everybody and not a particular group. As always, we thank you guys for tuning in. We'd also like to let you know that we have a big surprise coming soon, our brand new e-paper. And if you haven't heard about it, we're going to put a little preview of it in our description so that you can learn more. Also, for businesses, we're still looking for advertisers. You're going to learn a lot more in the near future. Thank you for tuning in. Take care of yourselves. And that's right, as always, each other.